A fired Beechwood police officer is fighting back to get his job back. The city let Blake Rogers go this week for firing his gun at a shoplifter in June of 2019.
News 5's Jesse Schultz explains why some are concerned about the length of that investigation and why Rogers' attorney says he shouldn't have been fired in the first place.
And while the city of Beechwood has officially cut ties with Rogers, there are still many lingering questions about how this all was handled. In June of 2019, a stolen hat at Beechwood Place led to this. Blake Rogers, a 6-year veteran of the Beechwood Police Department, firing his gun into the car of a shoplifting suspect he says ran over his foot leaving the mall.
From the moment the shots fired until just the other day, everything about it was not handled right.
Since that shooting, Rogers has been on paid leave. City officials waited to rule on his employment status until after the completion of an independent review. Ohio BCI completed its investigation in November of 2019, but it took nearly a year for the city to get that investigation in front of a Cuyahoga County grand jury. Councilman Mike Birkin says that process should have been faster.
At most, it should have taken 3 weeks to get it to the process to begin, to review it for felonies, present to a grand jury.
In October of 2020, the grand jury found that Rogers should not be charged criminally. But just this week, the city fired him, saying he violated its use of force policy, was not entirely honest about the incident, and used deadly force with children nearby.
I completely think that any policeman should be on fully paid leave until there's been an internal investigation and a review of the situation, see if what his employment status should be. But that should not take 20 months.
Mark Wilson, a Beechwood resident, agrees the entire process took too long.
It's super frustrating, and not so much even as a taxpayer, but just as a Black man and just as a human, taking 2 years to keep somebody on salary after they've done something so detrimental.
Meanwhile, Rogers is suing the city of Beechwood partly for the lengthy review, but also asking to be reinstated. His attorney telling me he feared for his life when he fired his gun.
They didn't provide any facts to support the reason for his termination. They just couched it with conclusions. This isn't all about money. His reputation has been tarnished. It might be tarnished forever. And we're seeking to correct that with this lawsuit.
We asked city officials multiple times just how much Rogers was paid when he was on his leave, and we haven't received a response. According to a report by the Cleveland Jewish News, Rogers' annual salary was just over $92,000. The shoplifting suspect that he shot at is currently in prison until 2030, facing additional charges. Reporting in Beechwood tonight, Jesse Schultz, News 5.